Saturn Lizards.
This is from Saturn Lizards. Remember Saturn Lizards who did the crazy ass video?
Good morning. I'm Mr. Banjo. So, a couple weeks ago I got to meet and hang out with Dr. Godzilla, and he asked me to share some of my story on video. So here I am. I guess it was around 2000. It was in 2005, that summer, that I had recently been released from a psychiatric hospital in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas, and I was participating in an IOP program, intensive outpatient, which is kind of like part-time being in the hospital where you get to go home at night. But on one day, one of the guys that was speaking, the story he told really struck me, and so I decided that instead of going home, I would go on a little walkabout. I ended up walking to a Greyhound station. Well, I ended up getting off the bus in Salt Lake City, Utah. Didn't quite make it to Los Angeles, and while I was in Salt Lake City, I was looking for a music store because I wanted to buy an acoustic guitar. I had some money in my bank account, and I found a phone book, and the address led me to a house in a neighborhood. Apparently there was not a music store at the house, but the house was empty, vacant. So since I could not find the music store, I did the next best thing, was decided to squat in the vacant house. The sliding glass door was open in the back, so I let myself in. I was hanging out for a couple of hours, and then I noticed that the neighborhood kids were looking in the side window of the house, and they saw me. So they went and told their parents, who apparently were the next door neighbors, and they called the police. So when the police arrived, I immediately called my mother and told her what was happening. And because who doesn't call their mom when they're about to get arrested, right? And so I allowed the police talk to my mother, and she told them that I had recently been released from a psych unit, and so instead of taking me to be arrested and booked in jail for trespassing, instead they called an ambulance, and the ambulance took me to the hospital. And from the hospital I went to the psychiatric ward of the University Hospital there in Salt Lake City, and checked in there. And after a couple of weeks, due to my behavior, which wasn't that bad in my opinion, they told me they're recommending me to go to the state hospital. Well, I did not want to go to the state hospital in Utah, several states away from home, which was Texas at the time. So I started thinking ahead, and I told the nurses I needed to access my wallet, because they always take your wallet away when you check into a mental hospital. And I told them I had some phone numbers in my wallet, and I needed to make some phone calls. And so they gave me my wallet, and I did make some phone calls, but I also took out my debit card and put it in my pocket and gave them my wallet back without them realizing that. So thinking ahead, a couple days later I was on a smoking break, and the smoke break was on the exterior wall of the building. So it wasn't like a courtyard where there was 4 walls all the way around it. It was actually on the exterior wall with an iron fence going around it. And then outside the fence was just a field and some woods, a little forest. Well, as you can probably guess, during the smoke break, I decided to jump the fence and ran to the forest. And I was running through the woods, and after a few minutes of running, I found a little highway on the other side. And so I just started walking along the highway, and going down the highway, I came upon Salt Lake City Zoo, which you can Google all this. The zoo is not far from a psychiatric unit. If you look on Google, you can find that. So once I got into the zoo, the first thing I did was go to the gift shop, and I bought a new polo shirt, a straw hat, sunglasses, and I changed my appearance just by those 3 items. And then I called the taxi cab, and as soon as the cab got there, I told the cab to take me downtown Salt Lake City, and I found a Goodwill thrift store. So once I was in the store, I bought a little satchel, little bag to carry some stuff in, and I bought a pair of shoes, some more clothing, some warm clothing, and I made my way to a gas station, and I bought a disposable razor, and I shaved my beautiful beard completely off. And so by that time I looked completely different than from what I looked like when I was in the hospital, which they always take a picture of you whenever you check into a hospital for cases like this. So I found a Greyhound station, and I hauled ass to Denver, Colorado, which once I got off the bus in Denver, it was a whole new opportunity, a whole new world to me. And I ended up living there homeless for a couple months. And that's where I'm going to end the story. I do have more stories about actually being in Denver, but I'll save that for another time. So right now I'm going to go ahead and shut off the video. Thank you for listening to this, and have a great day.